Hello guys! Since the release of Cyberpunk, almost 3 years have passed, and recently, the Phantom Liberty DLC was released. We all know about the numerous bugs that the game had at launch, spoiling the enjoyment of gameplay. Has this game's stability improved after a significant number of patches, and is Cyberpunk worth the suffering that all players went through 3 years ago? Today, we will find out. First of all, we need to choose what our character was doing up until this day. Nomads are folks who live as a tight-knit group in the wastelands, valuing freedom. They usually don't have much money, but they don't really care. Next in the hierarchy are street kids, small-time gangsters who constantly break the law, make a living by any means necessary, and engage in constant fights. And at the top are the corporate's office workers who always betray one another, weave intrigues, all in the pursuit of climbing the corporate ladder and making more money. Since I know firsthand what life without money is like, I decided to be someone at least moderately successful, someone my mom would be proud of. So, I chose the path of a corporate. After quickly creating my character, let me introduce you to Vi. As our character was trying to come to their senses in some restroom, our friend Jackie called us. He wanted to meet up and spend some time together after work. I agreed and then headed to chat with my boss. In the conversation with him, it became clear that I was right, and there are only sneaky bastards working here. He asked us to kill the girl who was interfering with our business. He gave me a chip with information on the case and asked us to take someone along as our partner in crime. I immediately thought of Jackie since I didn't know anyone else. To refuse to take this mission was not an option, but to get paid in advance for it, that's what I truly liked. By the way, we work for Arasaka Corporation, named after its founder, Saburo Arasaka. Remember this, as this information will come in handy later. In short, I promised to eliminate the target and hopped on a flying car to go to a nightclub to meet my friend. Here, I quickly found him, we had a few drinks, and Vi shared the information about her new assignment. While we were chatting, some tough guys from the same organization I work for approached us. It seemed they were sent by someone very cocky. They threatened us with death and demanded that Vi give them the chip our boss had given to us. I handed over the chip to them, and eventually, Vi was fired, and the money for my assignment was taken too. Vi was deeply upset, but Jackie assured her that he wouldn't abandon her and would help with finding new work. That's how we started working together and spending all our free time with Jackie. After a short cutscene, we find ourselves on a mission given to us by a girl nicknamed T-Bug. As far as I know, she's some kind of a cool hacker. Now, we need to find a girl who has disappeared. Vi and Jackie broke into some kind of apartment, stealthily wiped everyone, and found the girl we were looking for unconscious in a bathroom filled with ice. Since she was still alive, we decided to call an ambulance and try to save her. I handed this lady over to the specialists and went home with Jackie. After a short rest, I met up with our friend again. He told me that a very cool and influential guy named Dexter wanted to talk to me about a new assignment. Well, if we're already taking on big, well-paid assignments, we need to visit the fixer Victor. He's the guy who deals with body modifications, installs all sorts of prosthetics, upgrades eyes, legs, arms, and basically the whole body. While I was getting a new vision module installed, Jackie spent time with a girl named Misty, who's a bit obsessed with tarot and other mystical stuff. After finishing the modifications, I went to meet the employer. Mr. Dexter told me he wanted us to steal a very valuable biochip for him, but getting it is very difficult because it's well guarded by the Arasaka Corporation, where we used to work. To temporarily disable the security system, we would need a special robot and a good hacker. Well, we seem to have a hacker, but we still had to obtain the robot. Jackie and I went to meet some guys who sell it, but we couldn't come to an agreement about the price, so we had to kill all of them. With the robot in our possession, we went to discuss the matter with the real client for the biochip, Evelyn Parker. As I found out, Dexter was the middleman in this deal, but we would have to cooperate with him. In short, this lady wanted us to retrieve information about the location of the biochip we needed using Braindance. Braindance is a device that can play back someone's memories, allowing us to gather additional information. It's similar to a futuristic VR headset that regular people in this city use for watching adult content. The biochip Evelyn is looking for is used for a program called Secure Your Soul. Arasaka Corporation once created the technology to transfer a person's consciousness into these biochips, effectively granting a form of immortality. Now, back to Braindance. Judy is the one who knows how to operate this device, and our client introduced us to her. This lady is an assistant and Evelyn's ex-girlfriend. She has a passion for all kinds of new technologies and is skilled at handling them. Vi can even start a romantic relationship with her, but only if you're playing a female character. Judy fitted this device onto my head, and now we need to gather information by analyzing tracks with sound, images, and temperature from Evelyn's memories when she had a meeting with Yorinobu Arasaka at some fancy hotel. Yorinobu is the son of the company's founder, Saburo Arasaka. Having found the location of the necessary biochip, I went to meet with Jackie and Dexter to pass on all the information I had managed to obtain. The chosen meeting place was the Afterlife Club, owned by Rogue, a woman of age but still very beautiful and respected. She is one of the legends of this city. Usually, such legends don't live long, but she's been lucky so far. Jackie and Vi also dream of becoming equally significant figures in this city someday. In short, we had a drink, and then we went to Dexter to start planning the heist. The plan was as follows: Vi and Jackie would enter the hotel with fake documents to book a room as ordinary guests and later infiltrate the Arasaka family's room to steal the biochip. T-Bug would be responsible for disabling the security systems. Dexter would provide us with full financial support and a car with a private driver for the getaway. The plan sounded solid, so we began. We changed into suits, checked into the hotel, and I used the stolen robot to gain access to the security system for T-Bug. This way, we managed to penetrate the Arasaka family's room without being detected. We found the biochip quickly, and as we were about to leave, T-Bug called us and informed us that the Arasaka family was returning to the room, and we needed to hide urgently. We managed to do so somehow and witnessed a horrifying scene. The guards left Saburo and Yorinobu to talk privately, and while they were conversing, Yorinobu became enraged and killed the old man. Afterward, he couldn't come up with anything better than to raise the alarm and claim that someone had poisoned his father. Now, with all the security on high alert, it became much more challenging for us to leave the hotel. We waited for everyone to leave the room and tried to escape following T-Bug's instructions. However, the hotel's security quickly detected her interference with the system, and the communication was cut off. We attempted to flee across the rooftops but were spotted, and the police opened fire on us, which resulted in our fall. Descending from such a height brought new complications. Jackie sustained serious injuries, and the suitcase containing the biochip was severely damaged, leading to its degradation. To save the biochip, our friend implanted it into his own head. After successfully escaping from the hotel, we jumped into a car, and on the way to Dexter's location, Jackie's condition worsened. He transferred the biochip into Vi's head, and passed away. It was a somber moment, even though only a couple of hours had passed since the start of the game. I had become attached to this guy. Vi sent Jackie's body to his parents in a taxi and proceeded to meet with Dexter. During our conversation, it became clear that this heist had attracted unwanted attention, and none of us was pleased with the kind of success we had achieved. Vi went to freshen up, and as she exited the restroom, she was knocked out and received a headshot as a reward for this assignment. At this moment, we are transported to the year 2023, into the body of a guy named Johnny Silverhand. He appears to be a musician and currently has a concert. After finishing the performance, Johnny informs his band members that he's leaving the group and wishes them well. As we step outside, we encounter a young rogue, the same person who, in 2077, owns the Afterlife Club. She is waiting for us to accompany her to the Arasaka Tower. Currently, we don't know why these guys broke into the tower, killed the security, and planted a bomb. But what we do understand is that Johnny hates corporations for some reason. When their job was done and the guys were about to leave, they were attacked by a big man named Atom Smasher. He managed to knock Silverhand out, and the rest of our team barely managed to escape. Johnny regains consciousness in the Arasaka office. At that time, Saburo is still alive, and his assistants interrogate us. Then, they attach a device to us to scan our consciousness and place it into the very biochip that Vi and Jackie had stolen. Currently, Vi awakens in some junkyard. There, we witness a scene where one of the main and most loyal guards of the late Saburo Arasaka kills Dexter. He knocks us out and takes us with him. During the ride, we get attacked, and we are eventually forced to cooperate to fight back. While we do that, I'll explain why he didn't kill us. This guy is called Takemura, and he doesn't believe Yorinobu's story that someone poisoned Saburo. Since Vi is now the only living witness to what happened, he wants to find out what really happened that day. While our team was exchanging fire with the attackers, they got into an accident and suffered severe injuries. Somehow, Takemura managed to bring Vi to her Ripper, Victor, who eventually saved both of them. Upon regaining consciousness, Vi told Victor about her strange visions of the rocker guy. After listening to her, our friend informed her that these weren't just visions but memories of a person whose biochip is now in her head. The problem is that this biochip is currently overwriting Vi's consciousness with Johnny's. Our Ripper can't get rid of this chip, as it keeps her alive. Without the chip in her head, she would already be dead after getting a headshot from Dexter. However, if nothing is done, Vi will lose herself completely over time, and Johnny Silverhand will take control of her body. Misty, Victor's assistant, helped us get to our home, where, after a brief conversation, she gave us 2 types of pills. One is to suppress Johnny's personality, thus slowing down the process of personality transformation, and the other, conversely, accelerates this process, allowing Silverhand to take temporary control of Vi's body. We went to sleep but soon woke up because of Johnny, who was trying to interact with us. The two were not getting along, and to stop all this madness, Vi took the personality-suppressing pills and finally fell asleep.
Fuck me.
The next day, Takemura calls us and asks for a meeting. During the conversation, our new friend suggests Vi should start cooperating. He will help us get rid of the biochip, and in return, we will help him prove that Yorinobu killed Saburo Arasaka. The people who can assist us with all of this are Evelyn Parker, as she had a romance with Yorinobu, Anders Hellman, who was involved in creating the biochip that's currently in Vi's head, and Rogue, as she knows everything in this city while also being an old friend of Johnny Silverhand. After Takemura leaves, Johnny decides to have a chat with us. He believes that our first step should be to visit Rogue since she is an influential figure in the city and might help us locate Anders Hellman. So I headed to the afterlife. There, for a small fee, she provided us with information on where to find him. However, it won't be easy since he travels with security, so will require assistance. She suggests Pan Am, who is knowledgeable about the wastelands, where Hellman's vehicle will pass soon. But to get this girl's help, we must first assist her. Rogue gives us Pan Am's phone number, and I call her to arrange a meeting. It turns out that this lady was double-crossed on her last assignment. Some individuals stole her cargo and a car, and to maintain her reputation with her clients, we need to get everything back. I retrieve her stolen vehicle and help her take revenge on her enemies. After that, Pan Am agrees to assist Vi in reaching Hellman. By the way, her methods are certainly harsh but effective. In the end, I reach Hellman, and it soon becomes clear that he's generally useless as he doesn't know much about our biochip. I left him to Takemura and stepped outside to think about what to do next. There, Vi has a conversation with Johnny. Gradually, the guys start to get accustomed to each other, and there's less aggression and tension between them. Johnny believes that Arasaka is the root of all their problems and that we should probably seek answers in the tower. To get closer to Arasaka, we might need to contact Evelyn Parker. Upon arriving at her club, I met Judy again, and she informed me that she hadn't seen Evelyn for a long time and was worried about her. She suggested we look for her at Clouds, a club where the call girls are referred to as dolls. It turns out that Evelyn is one of them, so we decided to search for her there. Upon arriving at Clouds, I tried to gather information about Evelyn's whereabouts from other dolls, and they suggested that their boss might know something. Their head wasn't into talking with me, so I had to knock him out. From his computer, I managed to obtain information that, after getting injuries from her employer, Evelyn was taken to some kind of shady ripper. Arriving there with Judy, I found this ripper hard at work. This man turned out to be very unpleasant, and from him, we learned that he had handed the half-alive Evelyn over to other people who produce very brutal adult content for Braindance, involving the dolls. Nearby, I was able to find a dealer who sells videos of this kind. After analyzing the video material, we found out where such works are created, and we headed there. After taking down all the guards, we found Evelyn, barely alive and tortured. I rescued her and brought her to Judy's apartment. Attempts to talk to her were unsuccessful, but Judy suggested analyzing some fragments of Evelyn's memory recordings. From them, we learned that she had been involved in some shady dealings with a gang called the Voodoo Boys. Using this information, Vi decided to search for them later, but for now, we needed to help Takemura. He had arranged a meeting with a colleague who could organize a meeting for us with Yorinobu Arasaka's sister. Since Saburo Arasaka is her father, we thought she would want to know the truth about his death. However, Takemura's friend tells us that he doesn't believe in our version of events and doesn't want to help us, stating that the best he can do is to let us escape without calling the police. As this meeting didn't help us at all, we decided to organize a meeting with Hanako Arasaka on our own. The problem is that she is constantly under protection, and tracking her movements is difficult. But soon, there is a very important festival in the city, and she is expected to attend. To learn more about this event, we, along with Takemura, went to a woman who knows everything that's happening in that part of the city, Bakako. From her, we obtained information about the time and place of Hanako's appearance at the festival, as well as details about the security that will be ensuring its safety. As we see it, our target's flying vehicle will land on this platform, and nearby there will be 3 snipers keeping watch. Our task will be to eliminate them quietly. We still have some time before the festival, so Vi heads to the Voodoo Boys to gather more information about their dealings with Evelyn and find out what they might know about the biochip. I met a man named Placid, and he said that if I wanted to talk to their leader, Bridget, I would need to help them. Supposedly, to assist and guide me during the assignment, Placid established a connection between us, allowing us to stay in touch. I didn't pay much attention to it and quickly started my mission. I broke into the building, found the target that was hindering the Voodoo Boys' plans, and just as I was about to finish the job, he informed me that the Voodoo Boys were using Vi. They had implanted a virus in us, and as soon as we give Placid what he wants, we will be killed. Since I couldn't trust any of them, I decided not to care about it and continued to follow the plan, dealing with Placid personally later. That's exactly what happened. I obtained the data the Voodoo Boys needed, and the virus in my head tried to neutralize me. Fortunately, I survived, and now I have a chance to settle the score with this jerk. Well, hello buddy. Didn't expect to see me? We were about to start a fight when Bridget herself appeared, forced her subordinate to leave, and offered to talk to us. During our conversation with her, Vi learned that Evelyn Parker wanted to get the biochip from us to later sell it to Bridget. The Voodoo Boys needed it to learn more about someone named Alt Cunningham, who invented a device called the Soul Killer, allowing the transfer of people's consciousness into cyberspace. Bridget promised to help us, but first, she wanted to check the condition of our biochip. They put Vi in a bathtub full of ice, fitted my head with their version of the Animus, and we entered that very cyberspace. Suddenly, we were transported to 2013 and we saw Johnny's memories, where he first performed a concert at a club and then went to the dressing room to relax. There, he met his, as I understand, girlfriend, the same Alt Cunningham. At first, they had some wild passionate moments, but then they had a serious conversation. Alt believed that Johnny had gone crazy because of his hatred for corporations. He didn't care about anything, not even music. He only lived to destroy all these corporations, particularly Arasaka. The two of them had a quarrel, and eventually, Alt left, and Johnny, realizing that he could lose her forever, ran after her to apologize. Outside, while the guys were trying to talk again, some gangsters appeared, kidnapped Alt, and Johnny, who tried to stop them, got stabbed with steel claws. After some time, journalist Thompson saved us. Alt had planned to meet with him to talk because the Arasaka company itself had started hunting her, as she was a very talented hacker. Johnny was shocked by this information because he had no idea what his girlfriend had been up to all this time. To save his beloved, he turned to Rogue for help. At first, she didn't want to get involved in a war against the most influential corporation in their city, but under the pressure of our rocker, she agreed. To distract the security, Johnny held a concert right in front of the main Arasaka building, provoking his fans to start a brawl. While everyone was busy with Silverhand's fans, he and his team broke into Arasaka's office to find Alt. Unfortunately, there were still some guards there, so they had to kill them. Eventually, we managed to find Alt, but it was too late. They had digitized her consciousness and put it into cyberspace. And as for what happened next, we already know it. Johnny went crazy, tried to blow up Arasaka, and Atom Smasher caught him. Eventually, his consciousness was also digitized and placed in the biochip that is now in Vi's head. Back to the present day, in this cyberspace, Alt recognizes Johnny, and they discuss how to prevent the biochip from currently overwriting Vi's consciousness with Silverhands. Alt says that she may try to help, but she'll need access to Makashi, a place where all digitized souls are stored. It's located somewhere in the Arasaka building, and gaining access to it will be extremely challenging. Coming to her senses, Vi decided to eliminate Bridget and all the Voodoo Boys, as they didn't seem like very good people, and they were also interested in the Soul Killer, probably up to something bad. In general, I believe the world would be better without them. As Johnny and Vi were having a heart-to-heart conversation, we received a call from Pan Am asking for help. It turns out that their group's leader has been kidnapped by another gang, and we need to rescue him. After analyzing the location where he's being kept, I quietly took out everyone and freed Soul. A sandstorm started on our way back to camp, and we decided to take shelter in a small hideout. There, we relaxed, had a few drinks, and I expressed romantic interest in Pan Am. However, she made it clear that she's only interested in being friends with women, and after that, she pretended to be sleepy, effectively ending our conversation. Great! Later, while I was playing stylist, Pan Am called me again and suggested meeting up. Contrary to their leader Soul's words, Pan Am and the other members of their gang wanted to secure themselves against attacks from hostile gangs. To achieve this, they had planned to obtain a military special vehicle. I helped them steal it, but Soul wasn't really happy about that, so they started to quarrel. After that, Pan Am decided that she and Vi should learn together how to use this wonder of technology. While I was figuring out how it works, the camp was attacked once again. With the help of the new toy, we quickly defeated the attackers. Sol finally admitted he was wrong, and Panam's idea was a good one. In the end, they reconciled, thanked me for my assistance, and as we celebrated our victory, Vi suddenly felt unwell and lost consciousness. Upon regaining her senses, she shared her problems with Panam. The girl offered help to us, and her comrades joined in, suggesting that we could stay with them. Vi thanked them but refused this offer, and now she's heading to meet with Takemura, as the day of a festival is approaching. Having waited for the start of the celebration, I took out the snipers one by one. Then, I encountered what I initially thought was a strong opponent, or so I believed at the time. This high-tech bodyguard turned out to be the guy we had met earlier. Takemura requested over our radio communication that I don't kill him, as this person was just doing his job, but I failed a bit and still killed him. After that, Vi connected to the surveillance system and, through it, witnessed Takemura's attempt to engage Hanako in a conversation. She was unwilling to cooperate, so he had to knock her out and abduct her. While our friend was taking the lady to a safe house, Vi attempted to leave the festival as quickly as possible. Upon arriving at the specified address, Takemura forced Hanako to listen to us. Just when we were about to find common ground, Arasaka agents stormed in, plunging us into chaos. Fortunately, the floor collapsed, and taking advantage of the situation, Takemura and I quietly escaped. While half the city was searching for me, I took refuge in a motel. After some time, a doll arrived in my room, sent by Hanako. From this girl, we learned that Hanako wanted to meet and discuss the terms of our cooperation. Once the doll left, Vi went outside for some fresh air but immediately lost consciousness. When Vi regained it, she found herself in another motel room, with Johnny sitting beside her. He explained that he had brought her here while controlling her body. This place wasn't random, it held significance for Silverhand. It was where he had spent some time after returning from a war he had participated in when he was young. He had decided to leave the front lines because he realized that only the corporations benefited from the war, while ordinary people suffered. He also shared that Vi had become very dear to him as a friend, and in case of need, he was ready to sacrifice himself to save her. As proof of this, he gave her his military dog tag, which he had once received from another person who had saved his life. Vi says she's ready to sacrifice herself for Johnny too, but her words reveal doubt. Since Vi's condition is worsening, Silverhand suggests that she temporarily transfer control of her body to him so that he can talk to Rogue and convince her to help them in their fight against Arasaka, just as she did before. Vi agrees, and later we see him spending time in Vi's body. First, he drinks, then gets into a fight, gets a tattoo, by the way, a cute one. He has fun with some girl and gets into an accident. The next morning, when Vi regains control of her body, we find Rogue in our room. Watching Vi's behavior in her club, she realizes that it was Johnny, as such behavior was only characteristic of him. Through that girl, as it turns out, Johnny was trying to find a person named Grayson, who works for Atom Smasher, the same guy who was involved in Johnny's death. Rogue decides to help us find Grayson, and based on the information we have, he's currently in the docks. We easily locate him and ask some questions about the whereabouts of Atom Smasher and Johnny's body. At first, he resists, but then he spills the beans. In gratitude for the information, I decide to reward him with eternal peace. Learning where Johnny's body was buried, we head there. Our friend was upset to find out that it was simply dumped in a junkyard, with no marker. He also shares his emotional pain that he couldn't spend more time with Rogue before his death. To make him feel less sad, Vi carves Johnny's initials, and she also allows him to take control of her body again so he can go on a date with Rogue. The guys decide to spend time at an outdoor cinema. They had a lovely time together, but in the end, our friends didn't get any further, as Rogue said she couldn't do it. Too much time has passed, and she's not the same as she used to be. Sad. It's time for Vi to sort out her private life. After a while, Judy called us and asked us to come to her house. Upon arrival, we learned that her friend Evelyn had decided to end her suffering and depart to a better world. Judy was in distress, and I tried to comfort her. When she started to feel better, she asked me to leave so she could spend some time alone.
2,000 years later.
After some time, when Judy contacted me again, she asked for help to get revenge on Evelyn's boss, who had severely hurt Evelyn before all these terrible events. As you can see, I did my best. After that, we also had to deal with the owners of the Clouds Club, who were also mistreating the dolls there. As a thank you for my help, Judy invited me to some dump to dive with her in a dirty puddle. I wasn't thrilled about it, and neither was Johnny, but I decided to agree anyway to see what awaited me in the end. While we were underwater, she told us that this place meant a lot to her because she used to live here, but then the settlement was flooded, and people had to move to the city. I was a bit afraid during this mission because I knew that in the past, this quest was broken, as Judy could teleport underground at some point, breaking the mission. When it happened, my heart skipped a bit, but luckily, everything ended up well. After some time, Vi began to feel unwell and started losing consciousness. Judy pulled her out onto the shore, and since it was getting dark, our ladies decided to spend the night in the nearest shack. There, Judy felt sad because it turned out that after we left Clouds, many dolls were killed, and she felt that it was partly our fault. Yes, it's all very sad. Let's do something more enjoyable. Setting aside the sadness, our girls engaged in intimacy. Hey, don't smoke in bed. I don't want Vi to die like that. In the morning, Judy asked us what this night meant to us, and as I wanted to start a romantic relationship with her, since Panam and Rogue both refused me, I told her that she meant a lot to me. In response, Judy told us that she was about to leave this city, but I came into her life, so she decided to stay. Wow, that's great. You know, it would have been more meaningful for me if, after completing this quest, I could still spend time with her, go somewhere, or interact in some way. But whether we have a relationship or not, the outcome remains the same. Now it's time to talk to Hanako. I headed to a meeting at a restaurant, where we discussed what to do with Yorinobu and my biochip. Hanako suggested that I should tell the truth to the Arasaka board of directors and accuse Yorinobu of murdering Saburo Arasaka. I wasn't really into this idea, as I felt that these people wouldn't believe me. By the way, a fun fact is that Hanako knew that her brother killed her father even before the first conversation with Vi, but she didn't do anything about it, which proves that Johnny was right, and all corpo are jerks. During the conversation, Vi, like Arthur Morgan, started coughing up blood, and when she was about to leave the restaurant, she passed out. After some time, Vi found herself in Victor's chair, and he told her that she doesn't have much time left to live, and we need to act urgently. After that, Vi received some more pills and went up to the roof to make the most important decision of her life. Johnny suggested that Vi should give him control of her body, and he will try to reach Makashi with Rogue's help so that Alt can help Vi. There's also an option to ask Panam for help or trust Hanako and follow her plan. I decided to trust Johnny and handed over control of Vi's body to him. After gaining control of the body, Johnny set out to persuade Rogue to help us sneak into Arasaka Tower. Initially, she refused, but in the end, she agreed to assist us. And not just assist, she provided a large amount of weapons, arranged transportation to the tower, and even found people willing to help us. Respect to her for that. In short, we created a big disturbance when infiltrating Arasaka, killed many guards, and when we almost reached Makashi, Smasher appeared. He made an extra hole in Rogue, but even the pain didn't stop her. On her last breath, she still tried to help and sacrificed herself by detonating Smasher along with herself. Unfortunately, it didn't help much, and I had to fight him myself. After killing that bastard, I bid farewell to my beloved, took her pistol and the last bullet as a memento, and headed for Makashi. Connecting to it via a cable, Johnny entered cyberspace, where he met Vi. There, he told her what had happened recently, and suddenly, Alt appeared. She said that she couldn't help Vi because the biochip had nearly completed its work, and the body would no longer obey Vi, as it perceived her as something foreign. In the end, we faced a choice: either give Vi's body, and she'll live for a few more months before dying, or leave the body to Johnny so he can peacefully live out a full life. Logically, it would make sense to give the body to Silverhand, but I decided that since Johnny considered Vi a friend and had genuinely spoken about being willing to sacrifice himself if necessary, then so be it. Vi, as it seemed to me, wasn't ready to die or sacrifice herself for someone else just yet. So, goodbye Johnny. Vi asked him not to forget her, and our friend left the girl's body forever. Sometime later, we see Vi sharing her bed with Judy. After the last case in Arasaka Tower, she became a legend in Night City and now lives in a huge, luxurious house and owns the Afterlife Club. While the two girls were taking a shower together, Vi began to cough up blood again, which Judy noticed and asked for a talk. She said she felt uncomfortable and even lonely in the city and wanted to leave. Despite Vi's request for her not to leave, as she had no one else left, Judy said that Vi had reached the top and become a legend, and we would be okay even without her. Can you imagine that? Vi is literally dying before her eyes, and instead of spending those last months together, she decides to break up and leave. Rogue or Panam would never do such a thing. After this unpleasant conversation, we saw Vi heading to a nightclub to meet a client to discuss her last major assignment. Now she has to rob a space casino. And as she's flying there, Cyberpunk 2077 comes to an end. Credits. Well, what can I say? Let's start with the story. The story is pretty interesting, but at the same time, it's really short. It's hard to believe that when you're focusing solely on the main quests, the game can be completed in about 5 to 6 hours, which is definitely not enough. The main characters are really cool, especially Johnny and Jackie. All the missions involving them are enjoyable. They act like true buddies, making it fun to spend time with them. However, when it comes to Panam and Judy, they aren't as interesting. I believe it's because they lack depth, and their quests are quite dull. I found myself getting bored while doing them. The romance aspect of the game also feels empty. There are limited options for love interests, and romancing any of them doesn't have a significant impact, except for one extra scene with them. Gameplay-wise, even 3 years after its release, the game still has its fair share of bugs. Fortunately, most of them are visual, but they can still ruin the game's vibe. The city in this game is beautiful, but driving around it can be torturous, as it often feels like cars are sliding on ice while moving on the roads. The waiting for a call delays are also annoying because, at times, NPCs simply refuse to call you, and you're left wasting time on activities you're not really interested in while waiting for a call. Overall, I can't call it a bad game. It's a good game that is worth playing through at least once, but it had the potential to be much better. It feels like the creators rushed its release and didn't finish the game in a good way. But this is my experience and opinion about this game. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments, and see you soon.